Well, friends, it happened. Sony has recently announced that they are going to cease physical disc production, that is, DVD games, disc games, for the PlayStation consoles as of January 2028. So, not much time left, but I think the disc era is finally over. It's been a long time coming, whether we started with cartridges with your Atari 26, your Atari console, or your Intellivision way back in the 70s and 80s, moving all the way forward to these Nintendo cartridges, CDs, DVDs. Those days are over. Everything is going to go digital. I mean, it pretty much already has, but Sony has just put the nail in the coffin of physical media with their announcement yesterday. In response to shifting trends in consumer preference, they say consumer preference, not profits. New games will be released on PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital formats only, so just digital downloads. As consumers' preferences and the broader entertainment industry continue to shift away from physical discs to digital, physical game disc production for all new games releasing on PlayStation consoles will be discontinued starting January of 2028, so a year and a half from now. Following this date, new games will be available on PlayStation Store and at retailers in digital formats only. This transaction has no impact on games that already released or will be releasing prior to the January 2028 in disc format. This is a natural direction for Sony Interactive Entertainment to adapt to consumer trends as the general preference for digital media significantly outpaces physical discs. This transaction will enable us to align more closely with how most of our community prefers to access and play games today. This entire statement, they just keep talking about the community wants this, the community wants that. Come on, let's call a spade here. This is about profit. We'll get into that in a minute. We'll continue to prioritize our resources to drive innovation in how players can access games and provide choices as to where players prefer to purchase new games, whether that's at retailers or the PlayStation Store. We will remain committed to delivering a world-class gaming experience to our fans, and we thank you for your continued support. Wow, that really marks a generational change. This is pretty substantive, and it really it's kind of heartbreaking, right? I mean, this is really changing the way consoles will be functioning. You'll probably remember way back in 2013, Xbox tried something similar when they announced the Xbox X consoles in 2013, and it bombed. They tried to lock physical disc to just one user. So if you buy that physical disc for your game, only you could play it. You couldn't sell it back to a store, and you couldn't give it to a friend to install on their console. And you probably remember the backlash the community had. And within about a month or two, Microsoft had to reverse that policy decision because of how upset people were. Well, here we are, 2013. It's now 13 years later. 13 years later, and they've gone even one step further. Not only are they locking physical discs, they're abolishing physical discs as of January 2028. So that's it. Now all you do, if you want to go to a store, you pick up a box. There's probably a digital code inside, and that is your physical media moving forward. And it's really interesting that they tried this about a week ago with the GTA 6 announcement. It's almost like that was a warm-up just to see how people would respond to it, because you remember about a week ago, Rockstar announced that they were going to release GTA 6 as physical copies, but those physical copies were just boxes with digital download codes. There was no DVD in the box, and people were upset, but I guess they weren't upset enough because now Sony's doing it to their entire library moving forward. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Let's see what some people are saying in Reddit. They will be able to control every sale, so no secondhand or even poor countries can't pirate or resell their games. And the thought is this might close a 20% gap. The amount of PlayStation users defending this on X is insane. They don't realize what this means, and you pay Sony's price and that's it. No borrowing or buying a pre-owned game. No sales in your local stores. You pay full price though for Sony, and that's it. The death of any hope of the preservation of historic video games. Now will Xbox do the smart thing and be like, hey guys, we're going to embrace physical media? 0% chance. Or they would be like, yep, we're going to follow PlayStation. Absolutely. That's a good point. Maybe Xbox has a competitive advantage here if they continue pushing out discs. But honestly, I just think financially it's not worth it, and that's why this move is happening. It's not the community preference, although I can see that being part of the argument. This is all about bottom line. It costs money to distribute discs, and it costs money to manage that logistics to get the discs out. And discs also risk leaks, especially for big release dates. You end up getting leaks. Whereas with digital sales, they can control the release date right down to the second. So those are just some comments from Reddit. Some interesting comments. And just regarding sales, let's look at GameStop's price, because we know that the business model for GameStop is really at risk when we see that physical media is doing this. Way back in 2013, when Microsoft was going to lock physical discs, there was that concern as well. So this is 1 month for the GameStop Corp price, and look at what's been happening is the price has actually been going up. You'd think the price would drop, but because there's a year and a half from now, I wonder if people will rush to GameStop to buy as many physical disc media as they can, just for the historic value, and then using them as mint, and then selling them maybe 10 years from now, a DVD disc for old games, and they can put them up on eBay 10 years from now and sell them for a higher price. Maybe that's what's happening. So there might be a mini gold rush with respect to this announcement. But we do know that over time, the GameStop stock price will diminish, because, as you know, physical media was their value proposition. Now they've shifted off to collectible toys and stuff, but that just isn't the same, right? GameStop is just not the same store. It's really a shell of what it used to be, and I think it's just going to continue to decline in that regard. So yeah, interesting stuff. It's a shame that this is happening. It really is. I mean, I would remember days where you would line up outside Future Shop or Best Buy, and it was hours before opening, the brink of morning. It was just dark outside, and you'd be waiting to get that physical disc, right, long before Steam for that release date. And yeah, those days are long gone. They're long gone now. So some contentious points and some points with respect to the reactions to this. One of them is the loss of ownership. So gamers worry that they will not own their games, but simply rent digital licenses. And that's exactly what this is. Because now the corporations, the game developers, are actually the publishers, can just turn off the servers. When they turn off the servers, despite the fact that you paid $90, $100 for that game, that's it. It's over. You just rented time. And that license expires when the company decides to turn off that server access, whereas with the physical media, you always had a copy. You could always boot it up. So you got to wonder what this will do for piracy, and whether people will be more apt to cracking games, and whether or not there will be a resurgence in piracy of games. Could Sony be leading a charge towards piracy inadvertently? Who knows? Corporate control. Fans fear Sony can pull games from the store or shut down servers, making games permanently unplayable. That's exactly what's going to happen, and we've already seen that happen in the past, and it won't be just Sony. Game preservation. Collectors are frustrated that physical discs which preserve game history for the future, are being phased out. So yeah, once the lights go off on those servers, that game is gone. Whereas in the old days, when we had physical discs, you always had the copy of that game, and hence you could develop like a games museum that would archive and document all of the older video games that we used to play. So those days are also over. No resale value. Players will no longer be able to trade in, borrow, or buy used physical games at local shops. So we talked about that with GameStop. I don't see much of a future for GameStop, to be honest. If you're in that stock, you probably want to sell it in the next couple months once this price surge starts declining. But hey, I don't give financial advice. That's up to you. And the retailer backlash. Game retailers are highly critical of the move, with some major chains publicly condemning the decision. No surprise. So you got to wonder, just from a broader industry context, in my opinion, when I see this, when I see what's happening to Xbox, when I see what's happening to PS5, I mean, the only console left is Switch 2, but at this point, I don't really see many games on Switch 2, and Switch 2 is more geared towards a younger crowd. I don't see any point in having a console anymore. I gave up my Xbox a while ago after they made some decisions that I disagreed with last year, and I'm down to one PS5. I think it has a physical disk drive. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it for historic sake, or maybe I'll sell it. At some point, I'll get a PS5 Pro, though, for the release of GTA 6. But I think that'll probably be my last PS5 after GTA 6. And the announcement comes right after Rockstar Games made GTA 6 digital only, and Sony removed hundreds of purchased digital movies from user libraries. That's right. I think it was last month. They just removed all these movies because their licensing agreements were up. So people who bought digital movies through their Sony accounts, they no longer have access to those movies. They're gone. And that's exactly what's going to happen to your video games. And then there's the stop killing games movement. I mean, this put a nail in the coffin of games. I don't know what the stop killing games movement is going to do now, but this move by Sony really fuels global campaigns from consumers who are fighting for the legal right to play digital games when the server shut down. But I just don't see that happening anymore, because who's going to pay for these expensive servers when there's hardly anyone on them? There's no profit anymore in running a server that only has 3 players, 10 players logged in. Servers are expensive, as you know. So that's where we're at right now. Really a shame as to what's happened. It really is sad to see. The video game industry is really undergoing a major shakeup. Lots of things happening with Xbox, and now with the PS5 announcements. Consoles are really undergoing a big change. We'll have to see what happens with the Steam machine, whether or not that helps improve things, or maybe the Steam machine will bomb because the price point's too high. And ultimately, there's the whole effect of AI, not just for development of games and the layoffs of developers, but also AI increasing RAM prices, which makes your computer purchases much more expensive. Interesting times. We'll have to see how things go. But in the meantime, keep playing, guys. Keep playing. Bromo Sapien out.